We actually don't know, Jeremy, and as much as we were hoping that today we would get a bit more clarity on A, what happened, and B, how many people were affected by it, it seems we're none the closer. So the CEO for the company, Norbert Schulze, saying that they actually won't confirm a number because they haven't retrieved any of the bodies that were affected by that blast and can't confirm anything until they've done that. So work on the site, apparently the site was only secured about two hours ago, so work by forensic teams, for instance, can only begin in earnest now. So they are saying what they did tell us, and what gave us a bit more insight into what is happening on site right now, is that at any one time at that building, 10 people are allowed to work at a time. So we can work with a ballpark figure of 10 people who may have been affected. But again, because it was a blast that just happened out of nowhere, there may have been people walking next to the building, going elsewhere, and may have also been caught up in that. So the families that have been called in to what they're now calling the operational center are the families of those who were working in that building, and they are still waiting rather anxiously for news about their loved ones. But I mean, for some it's a foregone conclusion, especially the ones we have managed to speak to today and last night, who have already, told us stories about how they've lost breadwinners, some, children will be left fatherless, families being left brotherless, things like that. And it's also quite insightful speaking to these people who were here at the prayer session earlier this morning. We found out that a lot of the young men who work here are between the ages of about 19 and 35. So some very, very young people just trying to do an honest job that may have been caught up in this explosion.
Pheladi, notwithstanding the fact that it is a dangerous job and that is common cause, Denel itself is going to have to provide answers very quickly. We don't know the cause of the explosion yet, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, or for that matter, what exactly exploded.
Exactly, and that's the problem. We did try and get some insight into what exactly these men may have been busy with, just to get an idea of maybe some of the things that may have led to the explosion. So from the explanation I received, and I don't know if I'm doing it very well, but I'm going to try, they work with mixing propellants and charges for very big shells that are used as ammunition, and shells that are transported the world over. Rheinmetall is a world-renowned munitions supplier, so they're working with quite very charged, elements in those rooms that they work in, and it's a huge plant, Jeremy. So just to give you insight of scale, one building was affected here yesterday afternoon, but there are over 400 buildings just for manufacturing. So you can imagine how many various elements and explosives are being dealt with at any one time on this very big plant, one of the biggest in the world, we're told. So you can just imagine that maybe something did go wrong in terms of someone mixing something or whatever, or in the lines of that manufacturing process. But again, they were saying they don't think it was a matter of their safety standards lacking at all, but rather that it may have just been an innocent accident on the behalf that happened here.
I'm curious to know who exactly would be investigating this. I assume it's a police matter, but we also know that the Defence Minister has either been or will arrive a little later on. This would also be in the preserve of the SANDF itself, I imagine.
Yeah. That's what we imagine, but from the way the way communication has happened with us, first of all, overnight, and the way things were communicated in that briefing earlier, because this is a national key point, the investigation is apparently up to Denel and Rheinmetall. So, so far they have had the power to say, for instance, that forensic teams aren't allowed on site yet, that the police aren't allowed to begin their work yet. So I think they hold all the power here, and any and all communication about what happened, how it happened, will, I think, come directly from them, obviously in conjunction with other agencies who do their reports here. But again, I think they are in charge here.